In the silence of the Judean caves, where time had carved its ancient secrets into stone, Dr. Rachel Goldstein knelt before a fragment of pottery that would change everything she believed about her faith. The shard bore markings unlike any she had seen in 20 years of biblical archaeology, symbols that seemed to dance between Hebrew and something far older, far more feminine. "Professor, you need to see this immediately," her assistant called from deeper within the cave. "There's an entire chamber back here." Rachel carefully wrapped the pottery fragment and made her way through the narrow passage, her headlamp cutting through darkness that had remained undisturbed for millennia. What she found in that hidden chamber would shake the foundations of biblical scholarship. Dozens of clay tablets, inscribed vessels, and small figurines, all bearing the name and symbols of Asherah, the forgotten goddess of the ancient Hebrews. The first tablet she translated sent chills down her spine. Written in a woman's careful hand, it read, "To Asherah, Queen of Heaven, Mother of the Gods, we offer our prayers. Grant us fertility, protect our children, guide our husbands safely home. You who were with us before the priests silenced your name." For 3 days, Rachel worked in secret, translating tablet after tablet, each one revealing pieces of a deliberately buried truth. These were not the writings of pagans or foreign influences, as Orthodox scholarship had always claimed. These were Hebrew women, faithful daughters of Israel, writing prayers to a goddess they considered as sacred as Yahweh himself. "My beloved Asherah," read another prayer, "they have torn down your sacred poles and burned your shrines, but in our hearts you remain. Our mothers taught us your ways in whispers, and we teach our daughters the same. Though they call you abomination, we know you as the source of life itself." The evidence was overwhelming. Asherah had not been a foreign corruption of Hebrew faith. She had been its very foundation. The archaeological record suddenly made sense. The thousands of female figurines found throughout ancient Israel. The repeated biblical references to Asherah poles being erected and torn down. The constant struggle between the priests of Yahweh and the people who refused to abandon their goddess. Rachel discovered personal testimonies that broke her heart. One woman wrote, "My son was taken by fever, and the priests told me to pray only to Yahweh, that Asherah was false. But when I whispered to the Mother of Heaven in the darkness, she came to me in dreams and showed me the herbs that would heal him. How can they call false the goddess who saves our children?" Another tablet revealed the systematic campaign to erase Asherah from Hebrew consciousness. "The king's men came again today. They found Sarah's small statue of the goddess and broke it in the courtyard for all to see. They said any woman caught with Asherah's image would be stoned, but they cannot stone what lives in our hearts. We have hidden these writings so that our daughters' daughters might remember what was taken from us." If you enjoy these kinds of stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. And tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to know. As Rachel delved deeper into the translations, she began to understand the magnitude of what had been lost. Asherah was not merely a fertility goddess, as dismissive scholars had claimed. She was Elat, the female form of El, the ancient Canaanite high god. She was the Queen of Heaven, the divine mother who gave birth to all gods, including Yahweh himself in the earliest traditions. The tablets revealed that before the monotheistic reforms, Hebrew households routinely worshipped both Yahweh and Asherah as divine consorts. Temple inscriptions from Kuntilat Ajrud had already hinted at this with their references to Yahweh and his Asherah, but these new discoveries provided intimate, personal testimonies of that suppressed faith. One tablet, written by what appeared to be a temple priestess, described the sacred marriage ritual. "In the Holy of Holies, we enacted the union of heaven and earth, of Yahweh and Asherah, of masculine and feminine divine. Through this sacred marriage, the land was blessed, the rains came and life flourished, but the new priests call this abomination and seek to banish the feminine face of God from our sight." The most heartbreaking discovery was a collection of lullabies and children's prayers addressed to Asherah. Hebrew mothers had sung to their babies about the goddess who watched over them in the night, who guided them through the dangers of childhood, who blessed them with wisdom and strength. These tender moments of faith had been branded as heresy by those who sought to consolidate power in the hands of male priests serving a purely masculine deity. Rachel found evidence of the violence used to suppress Asherah worship. One tablet described raids on women's prayer circles. They came with swords and declared our gatherings illegal. Sister Miriam was beaten for refusing to give up her prayer beads, blessed in Asherah's name. They say we corrupt the youth by teaching them of the goddess, but how can love corrupt? How can calling upon the Divine Mother be sin? The archaeological evidence painted a picture of systematic religious persecution. The famous biblical passages about tearing down Asherah poles and destroying high places were not metaphorical. They documented real campaigns of violence against practitioners of the older, more inclusive faith. The monotheistic revolution had not been a natural evolution of Hebrew religion. It had been imposed through force and maintained through fear. As Rachel worked through the night, translating by lamplight in the cave where these testimonies had been hidden, she felt the weight of 2.5 millennia of silence. These women had risked everything to preserve their truth, hiding their sacred writings in the hope that someday someone would find them and remember what had been lost. The final tablet she translated was perhaps the most profound. Written in an elegant hand by someone who signed herself only as Daughter of Asherah, it read, "To those who come after us, know this. The goddess is not dead, though they have erased her name from our temples and our books. She lives in every mother's love, in every woman's strength, in every act of creation and nurturing. They may silence our voices, but they cannot silence the truth that beats in every human heart, that the divine is both father and mother, both masculine and feminine, both transcendent and immanent. We hide these words, not in defeat, but in hope. Remember us, remember her, remember that before there was one, there were two, and in that sacred partnership, there was wholeness." Rachel sat in the darkness of the cave, surrounded by the voices of women who had been written out of history. She understood now that what she had discovered was not merely an archaeological find. It was a revelation that challenged the very foundations of monotheistic faith. The Asherah Code was not just about an erased goddess. It was about the systematic suppression of the feminine divine and the voices of women in religious experience. The pottery shards and clay tablets before her represented thousands of years of silenced prayers, hidden devotions, and buried truths. They spoke of a time when Hebrew religion embraced both masculine and feminine aspects of the divine, when women served as priestesses and prophets, when the Queen of Heaven stood beside the God of Hosts as an equal partner in the cosmic order. But Rachel also understood the danger of her discovery. Religious orthodoxy had built its authority on the foundation of monotheistic purity. To acknowledge that Asherah had been a legitimate part of Hebrew faith from the beginning would require rewriting not just history, but theology itself. The implications rippled out beyond academia into the heart of modern religious belief. Standing in that ancient cave, surrounded by the testimonies of forgotten women, Rachel made her choice. She would not let these voices remain silent any longer. The Asherah Code demanded to be heard, not as an attack on faith, but as a restoration of its fullness. The goddess would rise from her archaeological grave, not to replace the masculine divine, but to stand beside it once again in sacred partnership. The truth had waited 2,500 years for this moment. It would not wait any longer. In her hands, Rachel held the power to give voice to the voiceless, to restore the erased goddess to her rightful place in the story of human faith. The silence was finally broken. And if you like this story, you will definitely love the next one that's appearing on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and activate the notifications. See you in the next one.